Collective unmasking is an important act of resistance. If it remains a mark of our oppression that as Black people, we cannot be dedicated to truth in our lives without putting ourselves at risk, then it is a mark of our resistance. Our commitment to liberation, where we claim the right to speak the truth of our reality anyway. Bell Hooks.
Hello, you're listening to Sisters Who Followed the Yam, Two Women in Self-Recovery, a podcast about healing, joy, and community. Brought to you by Sober Black Girls Club. Inspired by Bell Hooks' 1994 release, Sisters of the Yam, Black Women and Self-Recovery. We are your hosts, KD and Takia. Welcome.
On June 7th, 2021, Naomi Osaka, tennis track star, a Black woman of Haitian and Japanese descent, announced that she was leaving the French Open tennis tournament for the sake of her mental health. Now, prior to leaving the French Open, Naomi announced, while she was still in the tournament, that she wouldn't be doing interviews or press conferences because they were harmful to her mental health. She knew she would be fine, but it was a risk punishment she was clearly willing to take. When news coverage and criticism grew, she eventually left the tournament altogether. This event, this whole deal, really had me thinking about a number of things, but most importantly about Sisters of the Yam, Black women and self-recovery. In the book, Bell Hooks tells us to choose our wellness and happiness over the many systems, oftentimes institutional, that tell us to ignore them. If you are familiar with me and my story, you know that I have struggled with identity and staying true and authentic to my needs while navigating life in the past. This struggle, this dilemma fueled my drinking habit. I didn't have a sense of self, and when you don't have a sense of who you are, navigating life can be difficult. Do I help my community and join legal aid, or do I join a big law firm to pay off bills and student loans? Do I wear my real hair to work, or will I be looked down upon? Do I continue to stay in this relationship because society says that I should have a man and kids by the age of 30, or do I leave because I'm hella miserable? Today, things have changed. As a woman in self recovery who knows and understands her identity, as a woman in self recovery who has been through a lot of shit, I will do everything and anything to protect my mental health and emotional wellness. I have stopped drinking. I attend therapy. I don't surround myself with people and places and things that very much contradict the woman I am today and the woman I want to be down the road. I don't torture myself staying at jobs that I hate that don't align with who I am. Granted, I don't have mouths to feed and I live alone. But I truly believe that as long as I continue to show up in the world as my authentic self, I simply will never be without. I can't control everything, and I don't want to control everything. Events and situations do not determine my faith or worth. I did the whole legally blonde thing. Well, in my case, let's call it the legally black thing. A new lawyer in the big city with lots of material possessions, and I was miserable because what I was doing simply didn't align with my values. Now, let's be clear. Wealth is a value of mine, but the way I was going about accumulating it didn't align with my value system. For a point of reference, a couple of episodes ago, Takia and I spoke about how defining your values can be used to create your identity, how you show up in the world. A lot of my healing involved breaking free from the chains of eternal oppression and self-hatred. I no longer feel the need to look a certain way or talk a particular dialect for approval. Stereotypes, tokenism, microaggressions, and other facets of white supremacy no longer have a hold on me because I know who I am and I no longer give a fuck about who society wants me to be. Like Bell Hooks states in the Sisters of the Yam, knowing who we are, what fulfills us, and our talents and potential is key to our liberation. And for Naomi Osaka, tending to her mental health was more important, more fulfilling than winning a tennis tournament. I can only suspect that mental health and wellness is a value she cherishes very much. So, who do you want to be in this world? What are your values? Community, respect, creativity? Is drinking interfering with your values? What about the job that you hate? Are you willing to let those things go? I know change doesn't happen overnight, but eventually we must all start living in fulfillment and wellness and not in fear and lack. Thanks for listening. Let's talk next week.
Thank you for listening to Sisters Who Followed the Yam, two women in self-recovery. Join us weekly and follow us at Sober Black Girls Club on all social media platforms to stay informed.